All right, I'm so glad you all are here. Welcome, congratulations. So I'm Carla Hall, and this is my third year doing Favorite Chef for the James Beard Foundation. And today we're going to have a roundtable discussion, and this comes out of a lot of the back and forth that we have on my channel, and this is my social media producer, Amanda Rodriguez. And I'll let Amanda speak for herself, but this is so you can ask us questions, and a lot of them, I think a lot of people who have a similar experience to you have questions that are similar, and we just want you to sort of ask us whatever you want to ask us so that you can take this and use it going forward. Amanda?
Yeah, my name is Amanda Rodriguez, and I work with Carla and a variety of other content creators to help you connect with your community and build a social presence that is organic and fun and not designed to feel completely like a second job, particularly for people who have, you may have a restaurant or you're creating recipes or whatever, hosting events, whatever it is that you're doing. Carla is doing a ton of things. She has a magazine, she's on TV, and content creation can't be all of it, but we like to make sure that it's a part of it that helps you build a strong community and stay connected to your audience. So we hope we can share some of our insights on how we do that.
Go, be fabulous. Anyone starts.
Authenticity.
Yeah.
So, how do you appeal to the masses but maintain the authenticity while you do that? Because it's hard, right?
Yes.
Because sometimes those vanity metrics try to pull you in other directions.
Yeah, that is such a great question, Derek. I'm going to tell you, because my prayer since I've been on, not necessarily Top Chef, because I just feel like I was thrown into it, but once I was on television on a regular basis, and it could be what you're doing on social media, authenticity was my prayer every day. Because if I know myself, then I'm not swayed by other people. It also really comes back to confidence and self-love. I mean, it sounds deep, but if you are sure of who you are, you will find your people, and you don't worry about what other people are going to say. They're going to say things. And some of those things you may need to hear. So when you read those things, instead of really just knee-jerk getting your feelings hurt, you're like, is there a kernel of truth in this, whether it's great or bad? And so I think your North Star is what's in your heart. Truly.
How do you balance your personal culture along with culinary innovation throughout your process and not losing either of them?
When you say that, I think about Christian. Christian is my favorite pick. He did a deviled egg. He did duck deviled eggs, and I grew up with deviled eggs. But he did it with his culture. Mexican and
Sonoran Mexican fusion.
Sonoran Mexican fusion. So again, it sort of comes back to everything that I do is through the lens of me as a Black woman growing up in the South. But it doesn't mean I can't be innovative. It doesn't mean I can't change a dish. I mean, if people are like, what are you doing? Like, I'm being myself in this thing, because you are a product from that culture. So that means you have some say as to that dish. It comes from ingredients. It comes in the techniques of how you cook it. It comes from, and even if you don't necessarily know the ingredients and you do research, you're grabbing from history, and that becomes part of your dish. So that research becomes part of you. So it's not being so tied to the past and the culture, but also, it's a prime example. I tried to change my hot water cornbread because some people from New Jersey didn't get it. They're like, I don't get this hot water cornbread. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to please these people from New Jersey. And so then I was changing the recipe, and I was literally going to cook it like that and put it in my cookbook. And my grandmother came from nowhere. I mean, she's passed away, but I swear I felt the wooden spoon hit me in the head. And it's like, stop it. Don't change for other people. You have to be clear, and you have to be yourself.
In terms of how we bring social media and doing trends and being up on search and stuff like that, I do a lot of research in terms of what is trending, what people are cooking, and then I bring that to Carla, and she's like, how can I make this me for me? I think a good one is the Dubai chocolate. That was super popular. Everyone's doing it. And I'm like, oh, check this out. We should try this. And then Carla's like, oh, let's do this other thing. Let's add this. And if you look at that video, it's not exactly like the Dubai chocolate, but it is inspired by that with her take on it for how she would do it for her palate, for her people, for her culture, to make it, again, align with the authenticity and be something from Carla Hall.
And I want to say and piggyback on what Amanda said. So a lot of times we want to do social media, we want to make an impact, and we're like, oh, what do I feel like making? Ciao. You're wasting your time. What you may feel like cooking, nobody's searching for. So you need to understand how to make an impact with things that people are already searching for. I'm like, Amanda, what are people searching for? Because I may want to do a Pop-Tart. Nobody's searching for a Pop-Tart. Right. So I do all that work, and and the thing is, your business and your community building is based on what people are looking for. So you have to start with something that people are looking for. I learned that from this one.
Yep. And it's like how to add value. Like, how are you at giving value to your community? And if they don't find it valuable, then like you're kind of just doing it for yourself. And the whole idea of social media is it's social. It's not just about you. It's about your community and your audience, as well as whatever type of business things that you need, but like marrying that together in a way that is able to like provide value back into that space in a valuable way.
Yeah.
So actually, piggyback on that, I did start collabing with Tucson Chocolate Company, and started making. They make Dubai chocolates, so I was all like, "Hey, super stoner idea. What about
Go on.
you had me?" I'm like, "What about like a black cherry mole Dubai?" So then we started doing that, and then it's just like we started a Oaxacan series. So then we started doing, like, a white mole with like apricot and that sort of stuff.
Stop it.
And I actually hire them to do all the desserts for like my private dinners and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There you go. Culture, added value. I mean, on a trend. I love it.
Yep.
It sounds really good.
It worked.
That's so
Yep.
funny. When they mentioned the chocolate, I was thinking mole because we're
Oh, yeah.
from southern Mexico,
Yeah, exactly.
and
Yep.
my dish with Chef Aaron's pick was mole. So that's
The chile relleno, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, it's really
So
pretty.
that was my thought right now.
Yes. No, I love that. Now, let me ask you this. Do any of you all have a problem? I mean, you're bringing your culture in, but at any point do you question, is it enough? Or if you want to do something outside of your culture, you feel like you are sort of selling out? It could be no.
No.
Not really.
No.
No.
Good.
I'm very stick to my,
Mm-hmm.
my culture and the way I've always done things, and kind of respect for it. So
Yeah.
It's interesting. And so in my business, I, for the most part, I do film and TV catering. And this has changed my cooking 1,000% because on any given day, I'm given lists of, we have this many pescatarians, this many vegetarians, we have these allergies, we have this and this and this. And so when I first started, I also have a handful of different allergies and stuff. So certain things, it was like, okay, no peanuts, I got you, But so it was very interesting when it came to recipes. And then I realized more recently, I really am a recipe developer, because since day one of my catering company, I had to take X, Y, and Z recipe, remove this, add this instead, and so my cooking has become so adaptable. Yeah. And also in doing film and TV, if I'm doing a film, I'm with these people 6-8 weeks. I had 6 shows with Fox for 6 years, and I'm with these people April to November. And I'm the only food that they're eating. And so I also had to broaden what it is that I make. And with staying true to the culture and flavor, being from LA, it's a cultural melting pot, and so it's like, okay, I was getting recipes from friends' parents. Hey, your mom makes this and this, what's the recipe? And I'm writing it down. Okay, I got to switch these things, and friends that are Hawaiian. And so I really am global flavors. And I don't mind claiming that I am that. Well, I don't represent all of these cultures, but for my clients, for the people that I'm cooking for, they deserve to have any and everything. And also, I'm not trying to run myself ragged, making multiple pots of different things. Right. So I make my recipes kind of just became like allergen safe and paleo or gluten free or vegan or whatever it may be. But then we still got mac and cheese and and all the good stuff. But to be able to serve this, and while I have a very mixed cultural background, I made this. We just called it Mediterranean grill, and it's a little bit of all different cultures, but this girl came up to me and was like, this baba ganoush tasted like my grandma's. And I was just
the best compliment.
Yes. She's like, you made this?
And she's crying over, oh my God, it's here.
Yeah, she was just like, that just really took me back. Like, and she was saying like, I would never expect to have something with like, so soulful, so, oh gosh, what is the word? Nourishing your soul. Like kind of on a film set, when it's just you're eating food, whatever it is that, that they got on set that day. And that just gave me like such, just filled me up, so well. And then I text my friend, like, thank your mom, thanks for the recipe and the tips, But so my recipes are family recipes, but they're not all exactly mine, but then I have to adapt everything, and I find comfort in actually, kind of being able to do that, while it's not my culture directly, I'm still representing it, while I'm serving it to people.
But what I hear is that you're a conduit. And so you may be in your community on social media, and Amanda may speak to this. We listen, like, what do you want me to do? We're always putting questions out. What do you want me to do? Because I have cookbooks and I may be able to help them. I may be able to recreate a recipe that they don't know how to recreate. So you are responding sometimes to what they're asking you. And it doesn't mean I'm not being authentic. I'm being authentic to the community of sharing.
What does success look like to you when you first started versus now?
When I first started, success was being in a job where I was content. Oh, wait, it still is. But wait, no.
Cut.
Okay. No, but it really, so I am a career changer. And so I started out in accounting, blah, 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 blah. So it was really not wanting to be 40 and hating my job. I didn't want to hate my job. That was success. Now it is choosing projects that I want to work on. It is, at 61, I'm like, my bucket of whatevers gets bigger. And so that was my angels. So I feel like I want to be excited about everything that I work on. That is success to me. It is not money. It is not fame. It is not any of those things. It's because if I am joyful to go to that job, everybody around me is going to be happy.
I love that. And
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm at in my life right now. And I'm so lucky that I have a really good mentor who's also my partner. And I get to go to work and we get to work together. And I don't care how much I'm getting paid. It's just that I'm always excited to be there and learn
Yeah.
and grow.
And you should get paid, though.
No, yes.
I mean, I know, but I just want to put that.
So
Yes.
I second what you say about it's not about being successful and how much you make just throughout. It's about loving and learning and knowing that you continue to grow and being open.
And so I think about my team, and I think about so Amanda, how long have we worked together?
I think 3.5 years.
3.5 years. My assistant / manager, 12 years, and then culinary producer Arian Duarte, who was on Top Chef with me season 5. She's been a little over a year, almost 2 years. But because I am always looking for the happy, I want everybody on my team to be happy. And I'm always talking about how everybody has to rise like a box, not a pyramid with me on top. So for everybody on the team, I'm like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? And how do we mold it into the brand? Because I will support you in whatever you're doing. If what do you get excited about? Amanda is literally excited about numbers and stats.
I'm a dork.
Amanda, she sends us these emails, and so I don't know if you've seen us, all of the travel stuff that we did. We went on a road trip with my team, and so she's like, "Oh my God, we've gained 60,000 new followers on TikTok." We see her stats. We're like, "Oh my God, that's so amazing!" But that I get excited because she gets excited, and without her, it wouldn't be possible. So I love that you love what you do, because you and your partner, whenever you are loving it and you're on that path, you're in the flow. And so the work becomes really amazing and good. So when we're talking about social media, and I know, Derek, you're in a new job, everything sort of supports you in that space. And it's exciting. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you so
Otherwise, I would talk you into quitting.
much. No. And I do catering and in-home dining. On the
Yes.
side. So that is my own, little business that I created a little over 3 years ago.
Nice.
And I get to work in another environment establishment
Mm-hmm.
that I get to grow and learn
Yes.
new techniques and whatnot.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love
Thank
that.
you.
When you starting this like new project, like I'm sure it was really scary to begin with.
Oh yes. A lot of self-doubt.
Yeah, and I'm sure everybody here
Yeah.
around the table has
Yes.
been like, what am I doing? And like questioning yourself. And we all make mistakes, but like, learning from those mistakes is really important. But like, what's one of the biggest mistakes you made starting your career?
So I used to do. I'm a recovered caterer too. I mean, you're still in it, but I'm
12
a
years
recovering
clean.
caterer.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Carla,
Yeah.
and it's been 1,000 days since my last show. But I worked for a family in the Bahamas, and I was like, oh, this is going to be amazing, and and I didn't really do any research like what that looked like. So you get to an island, and it's just you. I mean, there's no grocery store. You get all your stuff, and breakfast, lunch, and dinner is you. And I'm like, why don't you, so it was a lot. And it was a lot of pressure. And I remember standing around a pot, and I didn't have any ideas. I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? And I was like, I have to fire this client. I mean, so for me, it was.
You have to fire your boss?
I have to fire him out, take myself out of this situation.
Okay.
But I can't call it a mistake, but I didn't put myself in an environment where I could thrive,
Gotcha.
because you have to ask all the right questions. But I still learned a lot in that experience, and I met some nice people. But after I had that job, I left it saying, no, I can interview the client the same way that they can interview me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a two-way street. Like, you're catering to people, but that doesn't mean that you are a servant to them.
Sure.
You are serving,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but you are not a servant. And so that's what I learned in that instance. Yeah.
So would you be able to say that's one of the positive things you learned as well
Yeah.
in your career?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, just take yourself out of that,
Mhm.
rut, if you will.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because to that point, if I didn't have that experience, then I wouldn't get the benefit of it. So I had to go through it. So I don't hold them in any particular way, because without that, I mean, even with my restaurant, you can say I made a mistake and I had the wrong location. And it ended in a year. But without that experience, which I gained a lot of experience, I wouldn't know
Mm-hmm.
if I didn't have it. Yeah.
A minute ago, you mentioned gaining 60,000 followers while you were on your road trip. How do you build that community and then also feel like allowing your content to feel real and not just a marketing move to keep people happy and following?
You're talking to the person who put up a video of themselves falling.
I saw that. It was actually impressive. It was very
Oh, I did see that too, and I'm
That
like,
was an incredible
Yeah.
call. Very graceful, very graceful.
I was hosting the James Beard Award show. Thank you very much. There were a few thousand people in the audience. I mean, interestingly enough, which I didn't talk about in the video. So I keep it real. I share when I fall. I share my quote unquote mistakes or learnings with people. That keeps me very real and very grounded, to let people know, everything happens to everybody, and we're in a place where we don't want people want people to mess up. We don't want to mess up because we feel like we're going to be shamed on social media. Honestly, it's okay.
Yeah.
It is not the end of the world. But when I fell, I remember thinking, now I'm hosting. I remember thinking, and I was so present, I'm about to fall. How do I want to fall? engage the core, make it big. I literally had all those thoughts. So by the time I got to the ground, because I was floating over the ground, I was like, that's why you saw me crawl away from the guy and I almost kicked him in the head, because I had to take care of the audience. And I stood up, and what you hear me saying, and I'm pointing, oh, that means this is going to be a great show. But the audience was still like, what the hell just happened? And so I ran downstage and I said, y'all know that shit was funny. The audience laughed. They released whatever tension. It wasn't awkward. And then people were like laughing about it and coming on stage. I was fine with it. As the host, as you of your community, if you hold that community, like nobody can, like, it's not about shame. It is about us falling and doing, what do you do after the fall? Get up and do whatever. That is what is important. And it's interesting how the comments, like, oh my God, I would be so embarrassed. I would keep rolling out the door. No, you wouldn't. As the host, I have to take care of the audience. You have to take care of your community. I am not embarrassed. I'd be the first one. It's like, child, yeah, that went down. Right?
I went down.
Right, I went down. So, to your point about, feeling like it's not marketing, as soon as you think it is not you and you're doing it for some other reason other than yourself, it is marketing. But you have to figure out how to tell your story and how to give a message that's authentic. I never work with brands that I don't use. When you see me do RSV, if you see me do Oats, Quaker Oats, or Toyota, hey. Okay, that's at a pause for Toyota. Anyway, it is because those are products that I like. So they're never just because, Amanda can attest to that. Amanda's the one, I'm like, Amanda, we have to do a really great video because they don't know how to do videos. How do we do it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree in terms of, like, we talked a little bit about this before, about the authenticity of it. I'm 100%, it is all marketing. It's okay to be a marketer, but like how you tell that story and how you position it so that your community is involved and engaged and really just like getting your story out there, that thing that makes you unique, is the part where you don't have to worry about, like how it's not going to feel icky because it's you and you're not icky, and that's I think too, it's the being vulnerable thing. Like, I think a lot of people think like, oh, if I'm being vulnerable, it means like I'm crying or, something bad is happening. Like, being vulnerable means being relatable. It means being open. It means like putting yourself out there and being willing to hear what the feedback is. And that, I think people online can be mean or whatever. So, like, again, I always tell Carla, don't read the comments. Just keep it moving. We're not reading the comments. I'll read the comments, and then I'll let you know if you should read the comments. But but also read the comments, because that's the opportunity for you to learn. It's an opportunity for you to engage with your community and see, like, how did this resonate with them? Maybe I was off. Maybe this did feel icky, and I don't want to do this one again. Or maybe this, I didn't realize. I think a lot with the road trip, there were elements where, like, we didn't realize how excited people would be to see themselves in her content. Like, if you haven't seen it, we went to like West Virginia, we went to the Appalachia. Like, we were traveling to places that you don't usually see people talking about. Like, who's going to West Virginia eating a slaw dog? Yeah, you're not seeing that. And people were so excited to be included, to have their stories told through her experiences, that, like, just that being vulnerable and, like, saying, hey, we're out here, we're doing a thing. It's a little weird. That's okay.
I was fly fishing. I was clogging.
All kinds of stuff. Like, we were in some places where we were like, I would never, ever be in this place if it wasn't for this experience. But it was so fulfilling for us and for the audience just to, like, invite them into that.
What are some low effort, high impact tips, tricks?
That's good. And if you don't have an Amanda, I'm going to let Amanda answer this, because if you don't have an Amanda, what do you do?
Yeah. I think so. I'll say, just speaking for Carla for a moment, I think one thing that she does really well, even though she's busy, I see her maybe once a month, she prioritizes her content. It's important to her, so she makes time for it. And I think that's, like, the first thing, like, committing to just, this is something that you want to do and your audience or your community is important to you. So, like, setting aside that time to do that. But in terms of
if people just go and comment a little bit, like an hour a week, go and comment, or because you've built this community. Sorry.
Yeah, but Carla does that. Like if you
Mhm.
get a comment, it's not me. It's always
Yeah.
Carla. She's in there. She's reading the comments. She's commenting on the comments. So like being present, I think is the first step. Like anyone can do that. You just go into you posted something, take some time to comment, DM people that you've connected with, that sort of thing. But in terms of like producing content, I think the two easiest things would be to create stories. They have like a low threshold of entry. People are expecting you to be raw and gritty. You don't have to like do a bunch of edits. You don't have to worry about like what music you put. Like your stories are for you to connect. They're less about growth and more about connecting with the community that you already have built. So if you already have people who are engaging with you in that area, like give them something that how they can keep up with you, how they can support you, what you have coming next. Like jump into your stories and do that. I think another thing is to go live, because again, like live is what's happening right now. You start your camera and, everything for us is about strategy. So I would never say like, oh, just start a live when you're in your bathroom, unless that is your strategy.
What?
I don't know. Then maybe it might be some
So
people.
right
That's
now.
yeah, that could be some people's strategy. But you're
Talking
thinking
about something different in
yeah, thinking strategically about something you want to go live about, and inviting people into that experience. You're in your kitchen. You're trying something new. Carla just did. This wasn't like a live or anything, but Carla just made her first angel food cake. It could have gone horribly wrong, and I probably still would have posted it.
Yeah.
But
And I'm okay
like,
with that.
yeah, inviting people into just like what is happening right now doesn't it the out you're not going to know the outcome, and that's okay. That's the authentic, vulnerable part of creating your content. So I think those are two easy ways to just like not worry about, the posting schedule and the time of the video and what trending song you're going to use and like all those things that matter, but they also don't have to matter if.
Derek, you're starting a new job. What does that mean? You're like, I used to be the pork guy, now I'm the beef guy. What
That's
up?
totally different.
I mean, right, but I'm saying, no, that is the post.
That's the content.
That is it.
That's the post.
That's the post.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that easy. It's literally you. I mean, even if you are like in a grocery store, you go and you take a picture of pork, you're like, "Ah!" And then you go take a picture of beef. That's you. I mean, I'm just saying, you're in the fields. You're going to all these different things. I mean, there are a lot of things that are happening, like in the production of beef, that a lot of people don't know.
Right.
That's your content. You don't have to overthink it. The things that you think that that nobody wants to hear, they want to hear.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when earlier you talked about that was your grandma when you were talking about Jersey and I just heard my grandma, the keep it simple stupid is what you just did right there.
Yeah.
Kiss.
Yeah. That was my grandma Astorino. That was like my whole childhood.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
okay.
That's it.
How much money should a chef realistically consider putting into social media, ads, content creation, help, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, we go back and forth with how much we should, invest in the post. So
Yeah, I think my rule of thumb is generally, what is your ROI for this thing? If I don't like, it's particularly people who don't have a lot of income coming in from their content, don't spend more than you're making. You want, like, if you're thinking of this as a business, and if you're investing money in it, you are thinking of it as business. We're not trying to lose money here. We're trying to make money. We're trying to grow our brand. So thinking about it more of like, is this an event where there'll be ticket sales involved? Are you promoting a book that you want people to purchase? So we try to, when we're thinking about what we're going to promote, it's usually things that are tied to a particular income generating experience. We're not just promoting like that video where Carla fell. We're not promoting that. Like, she's not making any money on falling.
yeah. And I'm not trying, and it was a one-off too. You have to realize that we're not trying to recreate me falling on stages.
Yeah. That's the viral element of that. People are always like, oh, how do I go viral? I want to go viral. Like, do you really need to go viral? Because a lot of times what people go viral in, and this happened for me as well. I went viral because I made these really funny videos about my dogs. And then my dogs proceeded to never be in another video again because they would not cooperate with all of my bright ideas for video content. Ever again. So like when Carla went, Carla, that was probably her most viral video, but like, we're not going to recreate falling across the stage. So a lot of times that content is not really where people are going, the focus is not just going to make you into who you are. So that investment is really about like, how are you going to generate income? Is this an income generating or an opportunity building experience? And if it is, then you may want to invest in that, but not over like what you're going to get out of it.
So what's an amount? Let's say, is there an income producing event that you would do, you and your partner?
Probably. So, Chef Aaron Sanchez was actually mentioning he's doing the foundation event in September 26th, I think, through the 27th. And he was just talking to us outside, and he mentioned we should collaborate. You know, since my partner and I work together, and so maybe something like that. You know, for a good cause. Yeah, and through his restaurant as well.
Yes, because so how I would look at that as a brand, bringing people and building the content around that or something that you want to get out to as many people, and you can focus. I guess you can focus on the area, like do an ad like for the area. It makes you valuable, because if you're building that community and you're bringing your community who have nothing to do with that foundation, that makes you valuable. So that is what you're trying to do.
Okay.
It's that kind of thing.
People buy you. Like, I'm a salesman. That's the next role I'm stepping into and like, people buy you. So like when they talk about investing, a lot of it's investing in yourself, your personal brand, so people can then come and spend more money with you time over time. And because that's, like, I sit here and I listen to you talking about content. I dump a ridiculous amount of money into content, but like the new job I stepped into doubled my pay. So like the ROI on my content itself, building the community, I don't know like if I can track that ROI. And I think, and not to digress or take anything away from this, but like the previous boss I was with, he gave me a book about like, I need you to read this book so you can see that you and I are on the same wavelength. And he was more of the analytical ROI. And like, I think the first 40 pages of, it's not even a thick book, was ROI and tracking ROI and this and that. And I'm like looking at it and I'm like, you want me to build a brand that's recognized in the South as like a high level brand for kitchens. And I'm not going to be able to track that ROI immediately. And like, it's going to take a while before we track it. But like, I 5X'd his business and I had to sit there and get chewed out about ROIs. And why are you sampling this chef this? Or why are you giving these people that? And sometimes you just like, you have to have that big picture vision where like that immediate ROI might not be there. Because it's a dance and it's about your comfort zone. And I think it's funny sitting at a table with people that are familiar with the kitchen if you can't take the heat, right? Like you have that saying. So like it's all what heat you can take, like, and to help you build
And
that.
I'll jump into that too, because I do agree with that in terms of like what that ROI is for you. So like if you are somebody who owns a restaurant or something and your goal, and this is something that we build our entire brand around, before you determine if you can track ROI, because I will say social media, you can track every element of your ROI on there. You just need to know how to do it. But you want people, you have to determine your goals before you decide your content, before you talk about your authenticity, before you do any of that. What is your why? Why are we doing this? What is your ultimate goal? And then when you set your goals, you're able to align the things, you 5 times your business, that you can track that. It may not be today, it may be weeks, months, years down the line before you are able to see something like brand awareness. That there we have tracking metrics within social media that we attest to that, but getting that brand awareness is from somebody who like walked off the street. You may not see that immediately, but you, for whatever it is, whether you're a content creator, you're building your personal brand, you want people in your restaurant, you want to sell a book, you want to sell tickets, set whatever goal it is that you're trying to reach, and then you can determine what your ROI is. Like, is it worth it to me to invest? I mean, and we usually say like 20%. 20%, okay, that's whatever your 20% is. It may be different from Carla's, it may be different from mine, but whatever that is, are you willing to invest that in order to reach whatever this particular goal is that you're trying to reach?
I was blessed enough to work with a local promotional company in Tucson, Tucson Foodie, and they do a lot of my promotions for like dinners and stuff like that, and a lot of the marketing. And there's really not much that goes into it, but at the same time, they're growing their business while helping me grow my name as well. But as someone that's trying to do a little more independent work, you can't do it alone. Obviously, you need help with the community, like we're talking about. But what direction would you give someone that is trying to grow themselves? Solo, independent.
Me? Okay.
I think.
Still think over fault.
I think I work with a lot of brands, and but I realize I am a brand working with a brand.
Okay, awesome. Yeah,
Yes.
that's a great way of putting it. Okay.
Yes. So whenever I work with these brands and they're having social media, we make sure that they understand when I do social media for them, it is through my lens.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to look like I borrowed something from a page. Back to your question, how do you stay authentic to yourself without, it's like a marketing thing. So if I don't do that, it's a marketing for them, but it's not. My followers are like, what the hell? Who took over Carla? Step for Wives and stuff, right? So you are a brand within the brand.
Okay. No,
Does that?
it's a beautiful way of putting it. Yeah. Because you're what's the difference? There's a difference between selling out and buying in. So
Yes.
yeah. But you're buying into it
Yes.
instead of selling out. Yeah.
That's right.
And I'm
That's
trying to
right.
learn the difference as I go, because I think it's just interchangeable for so many people as well.
Well, I think it goes back to Amanda's why. Why did you take the job?
Mhm.
Why are you working with them? And that is what you share. Like that is your brand working with them. How does it add to you? Because I don't drink. So when people ask me to do things with alcohol companies, I don't do it. I said I don't drink, but I eat my alcohol. But is it an alcohol that I can cook with? But I have to remind you, I'm not going to be drinking the alcohol.
Yeah.
But if I can cook with it, that's another story. So, and then if they say no, I'm like, okay, but I let them know up front.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything you want to add in?
Yeah, I think it comes back again to what we talked about already and finding your why. Like, why are you doing this and how are you going to make that happen? And the how, to me, this is my superpowers, the logistics of how. Like, how are we going to make the content? How are we going to and we do all of content calendars. There's no content that comes out of the Carla Hall brand or any of my clients' brands that we haven't planned strategically beforehand. We know what our ROI is going to be on that. And we have, the content pillars. We have the dates that we're going to post it. We know what it's tied to. We know what content pillar it's supporting. So I think the most important thing is figuring out your why and finding how you can strategically create a plan to bring that to life for yourself and your audience.
And that also helps with busy people because you know that you're going to be strategically posting. It's not all the time.
Yeah.
Let's say I'm hosting an event. How should I think about sharing it before and after for maximum impact?
All right. So you have an event. How can you ways to share it before and after for maximum impact?
Over to me. So I think event planning is, again, back to the strategy element. It's you have to plan it out, working backwards, from the date. 7 days before I'm going to do this. 15 days before we're going to do this. And really coming up with your plan about, and then thinking too about how long it takes you to create the content, what those content pieces are going to be, what goal they're going to hit for you, how you're going to deliver them to your audience. One of the things that we think is really important for events and all of our content production is it's not just social media. You have to remember your social channel, you don't own that audience. You're basically renting it from Meta or from TikTok or from whomever. So we really focus also on building platforms where you can have an audience that you also own. And that really comes in handy when you're promoting things like events, because you can make sure, if you have like an email newsletter, for example, you can set up a flow so that, 30 days before the event, this is what happens. 15 days before the event, this is what happens. And you can build that out in advance so that it goes out to your audience. You know that they're getting it. The metrics of who opened it, what they did with that content is right there for you. And you don't have to rely on like the algorithm to get it out, and the algorithm to bring people into you and like wondering, did they buy tickets? And like, there's just a lot of other elements that social media has that makes it more challenging when you actually want somebody to act on something. Thinking about like, if you want the goal of all the social platforms, Facebook, Instagram, they want you to stay in the platform. They don't want you putting a link and sending people over to another platform. They want you to be engaged there. So when it comes to promoting things like event, 100%, you want to have your content on your social media, but you also want to use some of these other platforms, your blog, your email newsletter. If you have a Substack, love Substack, 100% think about doing it. Those type of things give you a little more autonomy in who's reaching, how your content is reaching, when they're reaching it, and how they're acting on it. And then after, I think, like, especially if this is going to be a recurring event, the most important thing you can do is getting all of the content that you need to re-promote this event next year while you're there. Like, I tell Carl all the time, if I've been to an event with you, I don't always need to go to that same event next year, because nobody knows if we were there this year or last year, or, I mean, we're there. We created if we create a lot of good content, then we're able to promote that event next year. Like some of her events, it's, there's other reasons that we're there, but when you're thinking about something that you're hosting, you want to create as much content as you can, so that also, like he was saying, like Derek was saying, you're showing people what you can do. You're on here with this content, showing them like, hey, you invite me to your event, or you get me to host an event, this is what it's going to feel like. This is like an advertisement for you, for people who want to hire you to host an event or cater an event or whatever it is that you do. This is your opportunity to show them how great it is. So you want to make sure you get really good content when you're there, so you can have that for your future.
And the one little piece I'm going to just go at the end. The one thing is, and if you can get somebody to just sort of film little pieces of it, because I showed brands the value of having Amanda there. Because if you bring me there just to be there, I don't have my phone. I'm not taking pictures. I'm not doing videos.
Right.
So Amanda is there taking videos and everything, so that we have that. That is the goal. The goal and gold.
Yes.
So just think about that. Like,
I think, like, back to the question about the investment, that is something that I think, particularly for people who are, you're cooking at an event, you're hosting an event, your thing that makes what you're doing beautiful is the way you're interacting with the audience. And if you also have to be here with, like, you're not an influencer, right? So like, you're over here with the selfie stick and like doing all this stuff, it takes away from people's opportunity to come up and interact with you, and for you to like show what you can do in the room and focus on creating a beautiful dish and like eye contact with the people who are there, because you have to also get all of your content and make sure you're posting stories and like all of that stuff. That's what takes away that. When I go with Carla, she can focus on that, and that's why people want her back, because that authentic, warm experience that they got to have with her was not distracted by her doing, brand interviews and like all that extra stuff that you have to do when you don't have somebody
That's really
there to
important.
support you.
So if I can't seem to grow my channel, how do you get over that hump? How do you get unstuck?
Yep. I'm gonna jump in on this one, because this one I think is really more than anything about a perspective shift, particularly in today's age of how social media platforms work. I always tell people, if you think about how you use a social media platform, when you go in there, TikTok, Instagram specifically, you're scrolling. You see people in your feed who you have never followed. And you're not gonna follow them, because why do you need to follow them? They're going to show up in your feed because you watched their video through, you liked it, and you scrolled on, right? So I think the main thing about growing your channel is not focusing on the vanity metric of how many followers you have. Look instead at how your followers are behaving, or how the people that are engaging with your content are behaving. Are they watching your content? This is where the analytics come into play. How long are they staying on your video? Are they watching the video to the end? Are they watching it past 3 seconds? Are they watching it past 15 seconds? What are they doing? Are they sending it to a friend? I had one of my clients was like, how come all these people are sending my post to somebody? Great. I mean, that's what you want. Like, why are we worried about that? We want them to do that. But I just want to know, like, why would they be doing that? Because they like it, or they don't like it, but we don't care, because either way, right? Yes, they're engaging with your content. Like, are people having meaningful engagements with your content? Are they sharing it? Are they saving it so they can come back later? Are you getting tons of views? Like, things that matter more than how many followers you have are the things that are important. And I always tell brands, I hire a lot of influencers for brands, and I tell them, would you rather have somebody who has 50,000 followers, who listen to them, who buy what they buy, who buy what they recommend, who follow you, who come to your page, or 1 million followers who barely even engage with them at all? Like, those 50,000 followers, those 500 followers, those 1,000 followers are super valuable to you because they are acting on the things that you want them to do. So I think it's more about, like, shifting the perspective to, you can grow by focusing on engagement. Focus on creating content that is valuable to your audience. Focus on creating content that's authentic to you. Focus on creating content that keeps people on your video more than 3 seconds. That is something that they really want to be there, because that is going to, eventually that is actually going to turn into additional followers also.